Welcome everyone to the Real Talk Sports Show. Big shout outs and kudos to you, those who are watching you on the replay on Periscope. We thank you on demand on YouTube because guess what? You tuned into the Real Talk Sports Show and it's coming up right now. Bam! Well, here we be, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, Minister Jonathan Simmons, and the beautiful lady next to me is our co-host, Miss Latricia Dolman. Welcome back, sister. How are you?
Doing all right. How are you doing?
Hey, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. As you can see, I'm feeling some kind of way. Shades are on.
I
I'm,
see.
I'm already feeling.
Say?
Yeah, well, you know what it is? I just got that feeling. Super Bowl's coming up very, very soon. Tampa, and I'm just feeling kind of nice. So, anyway, let's get to it. How was your weekend?
Weekend was fabulous. Full of sports. I mean, what better way can you spend your weekend?
Yeah, incredible sports weekend. Of course, it was wild card weekend, Saturday and Sunday, football everywhere. It was incredible. And of course, last night, the college football championship. It was, I don't know if it was one for the ages, but certainly the beatdown. But we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the Atlanta Hawks. Have they righted the ship? That's one of the things we'll be asking tonight. And then we're also going to be dealing with the NFL draft. And last but not least, who are the best four teams that are left here in the NFL playoffs? We're talking about all of that and more here on the Real Talk Sports Show. And Tree, you may not know, but we have a pretty nice slate of guests that are coming on to join us tonight.
Ooh, okay.
Now, one of them is your favorite. Why? Because he comes from your state of Michigan. Yeah, Mr. Deshaun Tate will be joining us a little bit to talk about the Hawks, kind of where they were. They had kind of come out of the box real strong with 4-1, as you remember, and then they lost 3 games in a row to drop to 500. But the question I'm going to ask him and put it out to you as well is, okay, big win over the 76ers, and they looked like kind of what we saw during the winning streak. They jumped on the Sixers and stayed on them, increased the lead, and just held on for a nice, comfortable win. And so does that mean they're back, or is that just like a one-shot deal? That's going to be the question. I think it will be. And then we're going to say the college football at the very end, because one of the questions that we want to ask people is, this Alabama team that we see this year, is this the best college football team ever? And we'll get perspective. We're going to go in the Wayback Machine. For those of you who are OGs like me, you remember a time back in the, I hate to tell you how far back, but bottom line is, go Google and look up the name of Richard Todd, and you will find out that he was a guy that played a quarterback at Alabama, led them to a couple of bowl wins, and he was the guy that kind of took over after Joe Namath. Again, you're going to have to Google that, because Joe Namath won Super Bowl III and won Super Bowl 55, so you're going to have to go and Google, boys. Speaking of Google, let's do this. Social media is always on and popping. Let's go to social media here. And we have the one and only, our producer, Mr. Carl Eli Smith. He is saying here we need a little bit more mic volume, so I'm going to help him out on that. But we are, of course, broadcasting to you guys on everything that we can think of. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Periscope, which is very soon going to be Twitter TV. We're on Twitch, for all you gamers. And, of course, we do the audio on AM 1570, Atlanta's Incredible Radio. So we're going to have to do this. We're going to take a quick little break, because I'll make a little adjustment on our mics there, because the audio guys are saying, we can barely hear you. And that's, I'm sure, going to be on the podcast, too. So listen, guys, keep it locked right here. We're going to take a little commercial break, and then we'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show in just a momento. Don't go anywhere, please. Thank you. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our #1 priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. All right, we're back. So hopefully we can be heard much better here on the folks in WIGO. Tree, we might have to have you expand and vocalize a little bit more for those fellas so they can hear you a little bit better. But we'll go from there. Okay, so now I'm gonna ask you a question, Tree. What do you think about the Hawks while waiting for Deshaun? Uh, have they righted the ship, turned it around, one shot deal? What do you think?
I think we need to give them a little more time. So we all know in the NBA, the season is really long. So it's kind of hard to judge in the beginning when you have a couple of games. It really takes more games and see how they're performing as a team, as a unit, in order to really tell. So right now, I think they're looking great. We know that you really can't win them all. Some teams can win majority of them all, but it's still too soon to be able to tell if okay they're not going to be great this season. I still think that the Hawks this year will make the playoffs. I think that they are a good team. I love what I see from them with the team unity and just how they're playing together. And like I said, you can't win them all. So I still think that this will be a great year for them.
All right. So, what do you think about their play down in the paint? I know you are a woman of the paint. So, what do you think about really, to me, one of the key additions to this team, Clint Capella, and his play so far with the Hawks?
You know, I love it. I love a big man that plays strong, that can score, that can block shots, that can rebound, play defense. I'm really excited about the team and looking forward to how the rest of the season goes. I really think that we put together a good team this year, and I believe we'll surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, no doubt. I think so as well. So, there's been a little. I want to talk to Deshaun about this. There's been a little bit of a I don't want to say controversy, but you know how it is on a team. We all try to be, a solid team together, but from time to time, anytime that you're a very good athlete, one of the things is that you do have some ego. And evidently there was a little bit of little clash between Trey Young and John Collins, two guys who, kind of are like our version of a modern day. Once again, guys, you're going to have to Google some of these references. Stockton to Malone. Okay. That's John Stockton to Karl Malone, two Hall of Fame basketball players that played in the Michael Jordan's era. So go Google those guys up, Stockton to Malone. Basically, Stockton, great assist man, one of the greatest assist guys in NBA history, and Karl Malone, two-time, I think a 2 or 3-time scoring champion in the NBA. So we thought these guys had all this chemistry, but I'm wondering, is John Collins feeling some kind of way in a contract year because a lot of alley-oops have went to my man Clint Capella? I'm just saying.
That I don't know if that has anything to do with it. It may or may not, but a lot of times with the teams, you never really know what's going on off the court, and what happens off the court does come to play on the court. Some people can play through it, but you still can notice some things. And I don't know if it's something personal or if it is the fact that he's starting to give him more alley-oops than him, and he is trying to play really hard this year so that he can get the contract that he's looking for. So you never know. That could have something to do with it. That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, because it just seems funny because these guys seem to have the ultimate in rapport, and now all of a sudden we hear this story about this pushback, between the two of these guys. Trey came out and said, "Listen, at the end of the day, this is going to happen. It's about constructive criticism, it's about trying to be better, and that's it." And let's face it, we've had over the years many championship teams in all sports that we heard later, or even saw sometime played on the field, that there was a little tension between some of the star players. I mean, we know that Mike and Scotty got into it every now and then. Mikey would sometimes get into scuffles with some of his teammates. We know that current coach of the Warriors, John Kerr, was actually punched in the face by Michael Jordan. So,
yeah, that's crazy.
So that's it. All right, so who else do you see in the NBA East outside of obviously the Milwaukee Bucks that the Hawks are really going to have to worry about if they're going to try to make this move to make some noise in the playoffs in the East?
I really think Miami is going to be one of those teams. I like what I see from Hero and their team together. So I think they may be an issue for the Hawks in the long run. We'll see. They're really neck and neck right now with their standings. Both teams are. But I do like what I see from Miami and what they're doing. And they have a young team.
No doubt. So it is a situation where, we expect them to do some big things. And like I said, again, I don't know if they're going to go any farther than the 6th spot, but there's no question that they should be able to go to the playoffs. again, whether they get back the first round or not. We really, I guess the big thing is, and we'll hope to hear from Deshaun in a little bit, we don't really know what this Hawk team is really about because several of the key additions they made in the offseason haven't even played, or they've only played one game. So the Hawks are still, I think, a team that's kind of a work in progress. So it's going to be interesting to see, how things flesh out for those guys as time goes along. So again, we're going to put this question out to you on social media as well. The question is, do you think the Hawks have righted the ship? Are they legit since they won against the 76ers? Or you said, nah, they still got some work to do. You're buying or selling the Hawks? Let me know. Put it in the comments so we can see your comments, and we'll certainly get you on the air with us as part of our live broadcast. So, again, that's the big question. Hawks, take them, leave them. Are they back up to snuff or no? And that's the question we're going to look at today, and also look at some of the other teams in WNBA. Speaking of WNBA, let's kind of transition to them for just a second. I'm sure you know some ladies that are involved in the WNBA now. We're going to go just a little bit into politics. There was a lot of craziness that went on in our nation's capital. Unfortunately, 5 people sadly lost their lives. And there is some talk now. LeBron James tweeted out and got some great response about him wanting to buy the WNBA, at least buy Kelly Loeffler. For those of you who don't know, Senator Kelly Loeffler, ex-Senator Kelly Loeffler soon. She is owns 49% of the WNBA dream. Was really kind of, I think in the beginning, Tree, if I'm wrong, kind of was a great candidate. Everybody was extremely excited about her taking on the role. And then everything went to the left as the Black Lives Matter protest came out, and she said several things that kind of disrupted everything. So what do you think about the idea of LeBron James, maybe coming in and taking over ownership of a WNBA team?
I think that's a great idea for him to put together an ownership team and take over the Atlanta Dream, because when you have players, we all know that the players need to respect and they want to like who they play for. It makes a difference in how they play on the court. And with what I saw this WNBA season, where a lot of the players were wearing shirts supporting Warnock and not supporting her, and they were hurt. A lot of them said they were hurt by the comments that she made. I think it's time for new management, and I think for LeBron James to do it, I think that's also a great person to do it, just because he's so positive when it comes to the community. Oh my goodness, he does amazing things. I still love his I Promise School and what they stand for. So for him to put together a team of ownership and to try to buy Kelly out of the Atlanta Dream, I think it's a good move, and I think a lot of people will support it. Not just that, but I think that once we're able to get back into the arena, I think that a lot of fans will come out and show their support for it. So it could be a great move for the Atlanta Dream.
Well, it's interesting because I know, and again, we it's got to make you feel good. I know you played basketball last in high school, but as a female athlete, think about this. I mean, what kind of statement does it make about the WNBA, who seems to finally be, kind of catching the sea legs now, that the late Kobe Bryant and LeBron James, probably two of the top 5 NBA players of all time, have taken such a great interest in women's basketball?
I really think it's great because we all know the WNBA. Let's just speak the truth. These women are phenomenal. You cannot watch any team and not see how hard they work. They're always running up and down the court, hustling. I mean, they play hard. And everybody feels that they're underpaid. At least I know I do, because I know their pay, and I know that it should be better. I think that with Kobe supporting it, LeBron supporting it. And then if you look, I don't know if you've noticed, but so many different people, NBA players, other sports, for professional athletes, were wearing the WNBA sweatshirts and just supporting the team and showing their support, going to the games, watching it, tweeting, showing videos for it. And that's really what I think the WNBA needs to help take it to another level, because the talent is there. It has nothing to do with talent. We just need more support. I say we like I'm in the WNBA. I'm a female, so that's why I say we. But the WNBA just needs more support from fans, and we need to fill arenas. Once we can, I keep saying we, once the WNBA can fill arenas, then I think that will help with a lot of the issues that they're facing as far as wanting pay increases and things of that nature. And who else to help push that to the next level than LeBron James himself?
You already know. I mean, and the other thing too is, him coming to Atlanta. You know how we do in Atlanta. It would be a major turn up here. Let's go to social media here. Hopefully, he's still here. HC Hardy is talking about they're performing better. He's talking about the Hawks now. Former Pacers coach and Seattle Supersonics player Nate McMillan, with his experience, can help Pierce and the team adjust. And again, we'll get into that more when Deshaun Tate comes on and joins us here. So again, you guys, what are your comments? Joining with us here. You listen to the Real Talk Sports Show. We're going to take a break here because the guys at the station, you know how it is. We got to get those commercials in. All right, guys, keep it locked right here for more. We'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show. Don't go nowhere. Thank you very much. Nothing better than the sound of diesel in the morning. And what better place to get high horsepower diesel than the all-new 2020 Ford F-250, now with 475 horsepower and over 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. You know where to get it? From me, the minister, Jonathan Simmons at Allen Vintage Ford Commercial Sales. Because you know why? I'm the commercial truck guy in the shirt and tie. All right, guys, we're back here. That was a quick commercial here. We're back listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. Thank you again, all of those of you who are watching us here on Facebook Live, on Periscope, on Twitch, on YouTube. And thank you very much to replay viewers on Periscope. We appreciate you so much. Let's go back to social media here and get some comments and hear what you guys are saying. We got our good friend, and please, guys, support him. He's done some stuff for us here. He's with D&K Suit City. He was kind enough to present some gift certificates where we will present, hopefully, to a young man sometime in the end of this month of February for our high school players of the week and month. H.C. Hardy here says, politics should never mix with professional sports. Example, George W. Bush bought the Texas Rangers, and he became the governor in 1994, and he sold it. Yeah, so I guess that is always the problem. I understand you're a business person, but yeah, if you're going to be in politics, you might have to divest of some of your interests because, let's face it, as a politician, you vote on things that affect professional sports, taxes, status, nonprofit versus profit. So that's a good point there by the offensive coordinator himself, Mr. Cornell Hardy.
That is a good point.
Yep. So again, guys, looking at all the things that we have going on, again, we try to get into politics too much, but it is something that going forward, I think you're going to see a lot more players get involved with sports in terms of owning teams. We know right here a guy that I can't necessarily call him a good friend. I know him. I've covered his events, and I just respect him, admire him as a young man. Warrick Dunn, who played here for the Falcons for a while and was recently put into the Falcons Hall of Fame. A lot of people may or may not know he actually has a minority stake of ownership in the Falcons. So to see him, to see also Grant Hill, also has a minority stake in our own Atlanta Hawks, it's just good to see these guys who, matriculated on the court, on the field, and then took that and now bringing that to the front office. I think it's incredible. And I think that down the road, you're going to see more and more changes, which I know you're happy about. I know a couple of times you said we in the WNBA, and you've been kind of dropping from hints here. You got something going on. You're doing a coaching thing happening. You dust off the sneak for a little bit. I mean, what's up?
No, I definitely do not have any plans on being a part of the WNBA at this point. I know when the Atlanta Dream first came to Georgia, I did try out before the team came, like when it was first here, and had a great time at the tryout. It was a great experience. But I do know, like I said, I did not play in college. That was actually my choice. I had scholarships, full scholarships to play at Kentucky, North Carolina, so many other schools. And I just decided that I wanted to focus on volleyball in college. And even though I had a chance to play both, but I won state championships in high school, and the WNBA was non-existent at one point. And so it wasn't like nowadays where young girls can look on the television and see these awesome women playing in the WNBA and say, hey, I can actually play professional basketball in the United States and not just overseas. And so, no, I was not throwing any hints. I think the reason I just kept saying we is just because I support the WNBA so much. And I do have some friends and associates that used to play, that's currently playing, not that many that are still currently playing, but I do love watching and supporting the women, and I love what they do on and off the court. And I will always be a fan of the game, and anything that's empowering women, I'm all for it.
So you said it's a woman thing. As I understand.
Yeah.
It's all that, moving together. I get it. I understand. Listen, every now and then, listen, it's all about support. And let's face it, one of the things again that we saw here in Atlanta, I guess they did it elsewhere also, is that we saw more and more guys, professionals from other sports. The Hawks do a great job of supporting the WNBA during their season. We saw some Falcons players out there. So it's all about the love being shown one to another. Speaking of love, our producer says he's feeling the love. He said, because now you sounded real good. Everything loud and clear. We are on the air. So thank you so much, our producer. I want to give him a big shout out. Carl Eli Smith, we've known as Eli Smith here. The guy has been a legendary producer and show host for gospel music for years. He was on the station, which is now unfortunately defunct, was a legendary gospel station here, WYZE. He did a morning show. He now does a similar show on WIGO, 9 a.m. to 12 noon, Monday through Friday, with the exception of Wednesdays. Check him out if you like gospel music. Great guy and a great man of God as well. Going back to social media, Coach Hardy is saying here, he says, correction, he was head of the investment group, but sold his stakes later on. Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, like we talked about it earlier, I mean, there has to be some kind of separation because of the fact that the government is involved with professional sports. Now, you're thinking they shouldn't be that involved, but they are. I mean, like I said, we talk about taxation issues. We talk about how business is put together, because a lot of people don't know that technically the NFL, how this works, but the NFL, there's a part of the way they operate, which technically operates like an association or almost like a nonprofit. Now, I'm not sure how that all works with these billion-dollar deals, but nevertheless, that's what I mean. So you have to be careful not to mix the two of them together. Like I said again, unless you have something where particular owners start to play favoritism over, hey, I think that there should be more tax breaks, for this league. Just saying. So anyway, like I said, guys, it's great stuff. Great to be here, and we are excited, especially for you, Tree, because I think you're going to be our main correspondent and person on the scene for Super Bowl 55. I know you're feeling some kind of way about that. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, next week we're going to have a guest come on and talk a little bit about some of the nonprofit events going on. You want to give us a little sneak preview about that?
Definitely. So next week we will have on Clemmy, who is actually the founder of Women of Color Golf. And I don't know if you recall, but I was telling you that I'm their ambassador this year. They're also doing an inaugural golf event, and I am golfing in it, and I'm also the keynote speaker. What I love about what she does with Women of Color Golf is that she is helping minority women get introduced to the game. They go to high schools in different areas, and they teach young girls about golf. They have golf clubs and different things that they need to get donated so that they can actually have equipment for these young girls to use. And I really think it's phenomenal. One thing that my husband and I always talked about was that we wanted to do more to help young girls, young minority girls, play the game of golf and have the opportunity to play the game of golf and learn about golf at an early age. Because I used to always tell my husband, I wish I started playing golf when I was younger. It is such a great sport. I love playing golf. One of the things that my husband and I both loved about golf is that we can play for the rest of our lives, and it's so much fun. The courses are beautiful. And so I really look forward to having Clemmy come on the show next week, where she will tell us about Women of Color Golf, the more that they're doing in the community of Tampa. She does live in Tampa Bay. And then also what they're doing with the inaugural golf tournament, which is raising money for what they do with the youth in Tampa Bay.
Well, there's no doubt that we're going to be excited to talk to you about that as well. And we hope to be down there. We're still trying to finalize our plans on how we're going to get down there. I really
Oh, I can't hear you anymore. I don't know. It's like it went mute. You said, I really, 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 and then I didn't hear. But while we're having technical difficulties, I will just talk to everyone for a moment while we're having technical difficulties and we can hear what he really, really, really wants to do. But I just would like to thank you all for tuning in and watching what we do with sports and all of the guests that come on. Yay, you're back. I hear you.
All right. Here we go. We are back in the action here. We now have microphone. So one of the things that us being operating kind of away from the studio is from time to time we have little technical things. So I could see that my specialty camera that I always use flashed up, says, "Hey, change the battery pack." So I had to go to camera number 2. As you can see, I'm kind of a little lighter now. Camera number 2 came on, and camera number 2 said, "I'm gonna be the mic." so that's what took over for the mic. But again, we appreciate you filling in quite well while we got our technical difficulties squared away. So we're going to talk a little bit more in the second half of the broadcast. We're going to talk some more football. We're going to talk about NFL. Who are the kind of top teams, the top 4 teams that are remaining in the postseason play? And we hope to get actually some feedback from a guest who hopefully will be joining us around the 8:30 p.m. hour. He actually played for the Baltimore Ravens. Daniel Wilcox is supposed to be joining us. Played for the Ravens, I think, for about 4 or 5 years as a tight end. Did a phenomenal job with the Ravens. He was kind of a old school tight end, good blocker, but also a good receiver as well. So I'd like to get his feedback on who he thinks the top 4 teams are going to be in the NFL playoffs, and also get some feedback about the Ravens on how they look, because something kind of odd happened during the end of the game. Now, you know that the custom normally is that, especially at the end of playoff games, that, the opposing quarterbacks come out and they shake hands, maybe give a little hug, maybe a little, I don't know, man, good luck, and they go about their business. But apparently, the Ravens were so excited that they beat the Titans that their quarterback, who won his very first playoff game, Mr. Lamar Jackson, says, "I'm going to get gone." And he just ran off the field. And so, the Titan guys were kind of looking around, and the Ravens were like, "Hey, deuces," and they were out of there. So I guess my question is, should he have shaken hands with the opposing team, or was it cool? Because he did come back out, obviously, and do interviews. But, you got any problem with that? Was it just the excitement of the moment? What do you think?
Well, normally I would say that's not something you forget, because every athlete knows after the game, whether you win or lose, you shake hands. That's a custom when it comes to sports. So that's not something that you have to think about or remember. It's something that's embedded in athletes. It's normal for every game. You've been doing it since youth football, if that's when he started playing. So I would definitely say yes. Now, due to COVID restrictions, I do know that some teams have not all been going and shaking hands, and some people have been going into the locker room because of those reasons. And if that's the reason, that's fine. But that's something that people would see if he just did this game, or if it's something that he has done in every game, because you can see if he goes in the locker room or if he actually goes and shakes their hand or not. So that's something that, if it's not something he's been doing this entire season, I definitely think it's wrong. You should always shake hands. It's just something that is a part of playing a sport, whether you win or lose. It's about how you react and your character. So I say yes, he should have, if it was not because of COVID reasons. If it was because of COVID reasons, then I definitely understand.
Right. So I guess I want to clarify. So I put out here, should Lamar Jackson have shaken hands or acknowledged the Titans at the end of the game? Because it looked like they didn't do nothing. It looked like, hey, we gone. And again, listen, I understand that COVID brings up a different sensibility of what's going on. But at the end of the day, I got my thoughts. So let's go to social media. Let's go here to, looks like we are on Twitter TV, and it's Periscope. And we got Peace Love 89 asking the questions: who should the Falcons give up to get Deshaun Watson? Well, we're going to be talking about that later on in our pro football section, which is going to be starting up in just about 2 or 3 minutes. So don't go nowhere. We're going to answer that question because that is the other thing that's burning right now, is that, Deshaun Watson down in Houston tree is feeling some kind of way. He's like, yeah, I want to be gone.
Yeah, I'm really shocked about that. Definitely.
Well, the thing that happens is, and it's really kind of sad to see it, because the Texans and the Falcons almost took the same track, if you think about it. So 4 or 5 years ago, matter of fact, it just popped up. Sometimes I hate social media.
I mean, I really do, because Facebook keeps popping up and says, hey, remember these memories? And don't be wrong, I have some good memories, but some of them, like, hey, man, I don't need to see this. So they popped up my Super Bowl coverage from when I went and covered the, lead up to the NFC Championship game and later Super Bowl itself. And when I think back of just 4 years ago, not 10, 4 years ago, the Falcons were on the precipice of being the best team in professional football. And not only that, on the edge of being a dynasty type team that could have won 2 or 3 Super Bowls. And they went from that to this. And you remember the Titans, the same thing. J.J. Watt, Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins on and popping. So it's like all of a sudden, Coach O'Brien gone, Quinn gone. What happened?
When you mess up that charisma and that team chemistry, it makes a big difference. You can have a lot of great players. We've seen where teams have all-stars, right? A team full of great names, players that can do all these amazing things. But if there's no team chemistry, then it's for nothing. And a lot of times I think people forget about the team chemistry and they just look at the names that you have. At the same token, we've also seen where teams may have 1 or 2 great names, and then some teammates that, okay, he's a decent guy, he's okay, but then they come together and they have that great team chemistry and they can do great things. So it's all about the team chemistry, and when you make changes like that or make moves like that, it really can throw off the team chemistry. And I think that's one of the big things that happened with the Falcons, how they went from being this super great team. Everybody's like, oh, they had the opportunity to win a Super Bowl and all these other things. And then where they are now, it's a big difference. And a lot of it is team chemistry.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. So that was one of the things where, like, you get these little bad feelings. So if you remember going back to that month or two lead up to the Super Bowl, a couple of things kind of, I was like, I don't know. Early in that season, you remember Julio was having some kind of issue about his contract being renegotiated. Everybody was beginning to talk about, Matt had just gotten paid. And so that's the rumbling started with Julio. And then right before the Super Bowl, if you remember, the agent for Devonta Freeman basically came out and said he should be the highest paid running back in the league. I was like, oh, man. And that's what I thought about, what you just said, this whole chemistry thing, because up to that point, remember, it was all about the brotherhood. And then all of a sudden it was like, no, I got to get a check. So consequently, I'm not trying to say that's why they lost Super Bowl, but we remember Devonta Freeman missed a key block in that game. I'm just saying.
Yes, but really, it was a key block, but you can't blame it on that one block. The Falcons literally had the game won. They had the game won. They had already started with that, not started, they had already put the confetti into the machines for the Falcons. This is the only time, I'm pretty sure, in Super Bowl history that they filled the machine with confetti and then had to take it out and put the other team's confetti in there. It's amazing. And it's not because of one play. I really just feel like that their heads just got big, and it was like, oh, they were already celebrating before the game was over. And you already know you cannot count out Tom Brady. You cannot. He is the best quarterback playing right now, and that's just my opinion. Not just because, he did go to Michigan, whoop, whoop, but he is the best quarterback playing right now. And honestly, though, when you just look at his stats, you cannot count out Tom Brady. If you do, it's not going to be good for you.
Yeah.
And they just didn't finish the game.
Let's go to social media here and see what's cooking here. Because I take my shades off for a second. Lord have mercy. All right, let's go to Cornell Hardy. He said, poor team chemistry, leadership, the millennial athlete, fired coach, and GM.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're right. Those are all the nasty ingredients of a team kind of going off the rails. And I mean, the biggest thing for me was, I think you hit on the head, Tree, the team and to some degree the fans start celebrating too early. Because when have you ever heard the fans doing like a motorcade parade before the team even got to Super Bowl? Forget winning. I was like, people hit me up. They said, Rev, you not here? I said, for what? They said, dude, we got like 10,000 people at Atlantic Station. I was like, what? And I look on there and I'm like, we haven't won anything. Tree, I don't know if you remember. Look, I don't know if you remember this, but they actually after doing all of that, every county got involved. Fulton County actually shut down that street. I think it's Pryor Street, that block in front of the courthouse, and had a block party. They ain't want
Well, you can't be mad at the fans, right? The fans were excited. It was like, yes, we're finally going to get a Super Bowl. It's great for fans to believe in their teams. That's what fans are. I'm a true fan. Look at me. I love my Detroit Lions. Anytime I tell somebody that I'm a Lions fan and they're like, did you really just say that? Yes. And I'm a true fan, win or lose. So that's what true fans do. You're supposed to support your team. You're supposed to cheer for your team. The problem was not the fans. The problem were the players and the coaching. So I really think I would like to blame a lot of it on coaching. That is one game that will go down in history where it's just amazing that comeback happened in that short amount of time when they had the game won. So, the fans did what they were supposed to do. They were supporting their team. They were excited. They thought that Atlanta was about to bring a championship home, and that would have been great for the city of Atlanta. So I do understand the fans. And, shutting down the streets and everything, they were excited. I can't blame the fans with that,
Yeah, excited was what I mean. They were doing everything. They had instructors. Because matter of fact, one of my good friends, she's been a season ticket holder for a long time. She actually goes to every game, and she works, I guess, somewhere down there. And she actually was giving people like electric slide lessons, all kind of stuff. And just watching this whole scene was like real crazy. But again, there was a certain energy that was going on in Atlanta in that whole run through the playoffs. It was the last year that the Georgia Dome was going to be open, and you could feel it. I mean, those last couple of Sundays and the last game I covered, I couldn't cover the championship game, but the last game I covered the Seattle game, and I told people, look, I didn't play anything, but being on that field, it was electric. I mean, it was incredible. It was a great run. So hopefully the Falcons turn that back around. The whole thing about Deshaun Watson, could he come here? Could that be engineered? Well, I don't know. It's possible. The new GM could do anything. Well, speaking of do anything, we have to go. I know you said, well, you're taking a lot of breaks. Yeah, because we got sponsors that we got to take care of. So you're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. You're watching the Real Talk Sports Show. Big shout out to all those of you who are watching on the replay, like those of you on Twitter and on YouTube. We appreciate you. And me and the lovely Miss Dolman will be back in just a moment. So, I just told you like last time, same thing with dope people at WIGO. Don't go nowhere. We'll be back. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
All right, guys, we are back there. I thought you might want to see the lovely Miss Dolman more than my smiling face when we came back out of the break. So there she was. And for those of you who don't realize, you're saying, boy, she's so beautiful and glamorous. Tell people who you also are besides being our co-host, because you have a title.
I do. I am also Ms. America International, the reigning Ms. America International for 2019 and 2020. And I have my fashion crown until sometime this year. The pageant does not know when they are going to have their next pageant, but at their next pageant, I will be crowning my successor. And my platform is Brain Tumor and Brain Cancer Awareness.
Now, see, that's what I'm talking about. See, guys, you just didn't know the type of individual we had here. You were just stunned with her beauty, but that's because she is a real live beauty queen. So that is why she is so lovely. But and the other thing too, she's just a lovely person because a lot of stuff that she does behind the scenes, very involved in a lot of nonprofit activities, and we're going to have her over time discuss some of those beyond what she's doing with the golf tournament. I mean, you got your own nonprofit and so many things that you do to try to help people and assist people. And it's not just part of your crown; it's kind of who you are.
It is. I always tell people when I talk to young girls and other women, they ask a lot of questions about pageantry, different parts about it, why I got involved in it. And one thing that I tell them is the fact of giving back is just something that I've been doing since I was a little girl. Before I even knew what giving back actually was, I've been doing it. I just always have a heart for other people and helping others, which is also how I met you. And I've helped so many nonprofit organizations just because that's what I live my life to do. I know that we are blessed to be a blessing to other people, and I live my life to bless as many people as possible. So the giving back part of the pageantry is already natural. Whether I had a crown or whether I did not have a crown, that would not stop the fact that I give back, and I will give back as much as possible because I think that that's the best thing that we can do. And I do thank you on saying that I'm beautiful. One thing that I always talk about with women and young girls is that external beauty, there's beautiful women everywhere you go, right? What truly matters is your inner beauty. So it's how you treat other people when no one is watching. It's how you treat people who can do nothing for you. And that's what I live my life doing. I want to inspire our youth. I want to empower our youth. I want our youth to know that they are truly loved. I want to help find a cure for brain cancer, specifically glioblastoma, which is the brain tumor that my husband passed away from, and other brain tumors. And I want to find a cure, and I am going to work so hard, and I'm not going to stop until a cure is found.
Well, like you said again, you hit it on the head. Everybody can look at external beauty, but I'm going to put the preacher hat on for a second. The Lord actually instructs us that man judges the outward appearance, but God judges the heart. And that is what we all are striving for. Obviously, I know myself, I'm trying to shave a few pounds off and get in shape. But at the end of the day, if you're not a nice person, if ugliness is on the inside of you, at some point that's going to come out and it's going to mar whatever beauty or handsome look that you have, because that nasty personality that you have is going to be a situation where everybody's going to see that and they won't be able to see the beauty on the outside because it's been marred. All right, guys, the big question is here on social media is who are the top 4 teams left in the NFL playoffs? Who you got? Who do you like? We know that the top seeds are Kansas City over in the AFC and certainly Green Bay in the NFC. But besides those two, what other teams do you like? Ms. Dolman, who do you like? Because your boys ain't in right now.
No, they're not. Okay. Another team that I think is a top team, which I said before, I really think a lot of people are going to be surprised when it comes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady is really starting to feel it with his team. They're starting to really make moves together and play in unison. And I really think that we can see them in the Super Bowl. So I would have to say Tampa Bay Buccaneers is one of the teams as well. And I'm trying to decide between, I would have to say Baltimore Ravens, possibly. They're looking good right now. And we all know that when you have something to prove, you typically go out there and play like it. So we'll see. Who are your other 2 picks outside of Green Bay and the Kansas City Chiefs?
Well, so I'm kind of a semi-conspiracy buff. So although he's playing extremely well and actually has played better since they kind of got their sea legs, I agree with you. Tampa Bay, I think they've almost kind of set it up so that Tampa Bay will be the first team ever to host the Super Bowl in their own city, and to kind of cap off the whole GOAT concept of Tom Brady being the greatest of all time, because clearly so far, at least in the first year of his post-New England journey, he certainly got the better of it, because as we see, the Patriots are not even in the playoffs, under 500 for the first time in years. And meanwhile, he's got a team that hasn't been to the playoffs in almost a decade or more and has them knocking on the door of a Super Bowl appearance. So you got to like Tampa Bay. The other thing, too, the reason why you got to like them is that, let's just say the championship game is held in Green Bay. Of all the quarterbacks that could be playing for Tampa Bay, who better than Tom Brady, who is a guy that basically became Tom Brady in the infamous Tuck Rule game in the middle of a blizzard. So there's no question that Tampa Bay is a team that is going to be a force to be reckoned with. The other thing in the AFC, yeah, the Ravens are a team that you're going to have to take a good look at, only because they can run the ball. And so the biggest way that you have to beat a high-scoring team is you got to basically keep the ball away from their offense. And the fact that the Ravens have one of the best rushing offenses in the league is going to allow them, in theory, to be able to kind of slow the game down and keep the ball away from Kansas City. But at the end of the day, I know what people would want to see. They would like to see Aaron Rodgers take one more shot against the new gunslinger, Mr. Patrick Mahomes. So I got to be kind of partial. I'm hoping to see that matchup as well, because I think that would be one for the ages. I'm just me personally. And I'd like to see them knock off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the championship very decisively. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we shall see. I am definitely not a Packer fan.
Yeah, I already know.
Go figure, with me being a Lion and Viking.
Oh, really?
But I do think that it will be a great matchup. Aaron Rodgers is phenomenal. He is one of my favorite quarterbacks, and Green Bay is always a good team. And like you say, a lot of people don't know how to come up there and play in the snow. That's one of their huge advantages, is playing at home in the winter. But as we all know, Tom Brady definitely is prepared for it, and he's used to it, even though he's getting used to the sun. But it'll be a great game for sure. And I'm really thinking Tampa Bay will pull that one out, but we'll see.
Well, again, I think I have some agreement here on social media. Our friend Cornell Hardy, he says that it would have to be Green Bay and Kansas City, so we can actually have the State Farm Super Bowl, because as we know, Mahomes and Rodgers are both big guys who advertise for State Farm. So that would be pretty interesting. I mean, I think from a fact that when I was a little kid, I was a Packer fan, because date myself, but anyway, back then, most kids either liked the Cowboys or the Packers, because those were the two better teams of that era. So I fell on the side of the Packers. I wasn't a big Cowboy fan. So as time went on, I really began to like them. Of course, the Brett Favre era, was off the chain, and certainly no disrespect to Aaron Rodgers, he's done very well. Matter of fact, I think that had it not been for one or two silly plays, he might have had a second Super Bowl already, because that year they lost to Seattle was just ridiculous. I mean, how can you be up 16-0? They were like the Falcons almost, 16-0, I think, in the fourth quarter, 19-0, I think, at one point, and then just let it all go. Bye-bye. So anyway, yeah, so Green Bay and Kansas City, that's what I'd like to see. But like I said, I think it's going to be a good one. I mean, you got don't count. I'll tell you another team in the AFC, don't count out the Buffalo Bills, because, Josh Allen, he's a big boy, big arm. Stephon Diggs, we saw what he did in Minnesota before in postseason. We see how he's done so far this year. So, Buffalo is straight too. I mean, They are.
I can honestly say that all the teams that are left, you know what they say, any given Sunday.
Right.
So
right.
It will definitely be some great matchups, and I'm looking forward to watching these games. It's a great part of the season, because every team is coming to play every minute of the game. At least they should, right? But it's also a sad part of the season for me, because it's also me realizing, oh my goodness, we only have a few more games and then the season is over, no more football. And so I always get sad this time of year as well. But I love watching the great games, and I'm looking forward to see who will come out and show out. It will be some great football being played.
Yeah, no doubt. So once you get to this point, like I said, playoff time, it gets to be, again, everybody's all in, usually gets 60 minutes of play. There was kind of some, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't necessarily say shade, but, sometimes, when teams get into a position where they kind of get hopelessly behind, there's really not much they can do. Or sometimes, coaches make certain calls or certain plays during postseason. We kind of scratch your head later and say kind of what happened. But, I just think right now you're going to have some excellent games. Even, again, another team that's lying in the weeds, New Orleans Saints. I mean, they're there every year. They're always knocking the door. They're always one of those top 4 teams down the stretch. Drew Brees, he could be playing maybe his last season. So the Saints, again, they could make some noise as well. It's going to be interesting. You got great quarterbacks on both sides. Last year's MVP, Lamar Jackson, Super Bowl MVP, Patrick Mahomes still left in it. Former, I think, 2-time MVP in terms of Aaron Rodgers, 6-time Super Bowl winner in Tom Brady. Drew Brees, Super Bowl winner. a guy that has thrown for more yards than anybody in NFL history. So you got a lot of gunslingers out here now. So it's going to get real.
It's a lot of talent.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So it should be fun, and we hope that you guys will all watch along with us, and we're just going to have some fun, kind of seeing who's going to shake out, and then who we're going to talk to. We come to Super Bowl 55 because, like I said again, we are going to be part of that coverage. And I'm put out there, if you have a business and you want to kind of be part of the Super Bowl week, hit us up here. Let me go ahead and take these shades off so I can see the proper banner to put up on how you should contact us. And please give me a call, 678-410-9833. We can let you know we have some great advertising rates, very, very reasonable. And you literally can be part of our great broadcast coverage of the Super Bowl itself. So please, ma'am, please, sir, go ahead and do that for us. We'd love to have you be a part of it. Like I said, very, very reasonable rates. Give me a call, 678-410-9833. So love to have you be a part of it. All right, we're going to shift gears a little bit here, talk a little bit about our Atlanta Falcons. Normally have D. Orlando Ledbetter on with us. He won't be able to join us this week, but there's been some rumblings. Falcons have been interviewing lots of coaches, lots of GMs. Kind of the hot guy that everybody seems to want is the offensive coordinator from Kansas City, Eric Bieniemy. That's the name that everybody seems to be hot. They want him to come here. And a lot of people are talking GM, a guy who actually is on ESPN now, Louis Riddick, to come on and join us here. Taking the skill sets of the players, skill sets of these guys aside for just a moment, what would that mean for the NFL and even for the city of Atlanta to have a combination where you have a African-American head coach and an African-American GM on that same team?
I think it would be great for the city of Atlanta, just because with everything going on. I know we don't talk a lot about politics, but we do know in the past that there have been qualified people who have been turned down for positions because of the color of their skin. And I think that one of the things that are going on now is that a lot of companies and a lot of organizations are starting to realize that. And so now they're trying to say, hey, okay, we need to do better. If you're qualified, you're qualified. It shouldn't matter what your race is. And for that to happen here with the Falcons, I think would be good if they produce. So it also doesn't matter the color of your skin, whether you win or lose. It's all about winning. Winning is what's going to keep them employed here. Winning is what will bring the city happiness. I can't tell you how many Atlanta Falcons fans are here. There are so many Falcon fans here. Atlanta has the support. People just want to come out and see their team win. I have not seen one time, and this is just me, I haven't been to that many games as far as what I used to go to in the Georgia Dome. As you were speaking of earlier, we all know that the Georgia Dome was electric. Anytime that the team was running out, like you said, being on that field, you could just feel it with the crowd. The crowd went wild. It was just a place. And that's why the Falcons played so great in the Dome, just because it was just such a great atmosphere. In the new Mercedes-Benz Arena, I have not seen it sold out one time. And that could just be me. Maybe it just wasn't sold out when I was there. But even when I'm watching on television, I just see a lot of red, empty seats. And so I think what the Falcons need to do to fill those seats is just start back winning, protecting the dome, what they used to always say. And the intro is fabulous. I think the Falcons have one of the best intros that I've seen. I love where the hawk or the falcon is going and flying, and then it goes and steps on whatever team they're playing. So they still have the momentum. I think starting getting the victories, which with whatever coach they bring in, will change the city around and change the Falcons around. That is what is needed. We need a coach and a GM that is going to come here and make positive changes to get the city on top.
Well, there is no doubt about that. And I want to let you guys know, who do you think we should get in here? We'd love to have you guys get an opinion here. And I just found out some good news, folks, in the waiting room. A gentleman who I was not sure if he's going to be able to join us tonight, but breaking news. When we start talking Falcons, we have to get the one and only, the man who gets always the number one question in any press conference that involves the Falcons. He is the embedded beat writer for AJC Sports for the Falcons. He is an award-winning sports writer as well. Esquire par excellent is back in the building. D. Orlando Ledbetter. Welcome back, sir.
Welcome, Reverend. Thanks for having me, Reverend and Latricia. Glad to be on Real Talk Sports tonight. Yes.
Yes. Always great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
D-Led, you said I got my happy dance on now, bro. Oh,
yeah. I saw you rocking the shades earlier. And
let me put it back on, sir. There we go.
Check out Mr. Pisser breaking it down on the Falcons. I'm throwing my shades too.
That's what I'm talking about. What it was. There we go.
I need some shades.
You got to get you some shades. All right, before we do that, let's go to social media real quickly here, and we're going to pop up our man here from Periscope, our good buddy. He said only one to get. That's Marvin Lewis. That's what he's thinking about who the head coach is. All right, well, D-Led, that's our good buddy from Periscope. That is affiliate man. He joins us each and every week, and he says he thinks Marvin Lewis should be in the hunt. We've had some rumblings today about the young man that's down in Carolina, about him being a potential candidate. Talk to us a little bit about what you've been hearing, the buzz around the Falcons in terms of that combination of GM and head coach.
Yeah, Reverend, I reported today that there are 3 finalists. I've been in touch with the Morocco Brown camp. They did not get the job. It is down to Rick Smith, the former Houston Texans GM, and the Brad Holmes, the Rams director of scouting, and Terry Fontenot of the Saints, the personnel vice president. Fontenot and Holmes can't be hired right now because they are in the playoffs. They could hire Rick Smith right away if they wanted, if he was their guy. But they want to, they got to wait, I guess, to, see Rams. If the Rams or Saints lose, then they can, finish all their processes at that time. So Holmes and Fontenot look good. And the people, the Morocco Brown, he was the coach guy. Anthony Robinson was from the Falcons. Those 2 are out. And the Morocco Brown camp believe that it's down to Rick Smith and Terry Fontenot. So, that's what we are reporting at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and we wouldn't lead you wrong here. So as far as the coaching situation, the Terry Fontenot and Joe Brady stuff is a smoke screen. They're not necessarily connected at the hip. He might not be his coach. So they're going to looks like they're going to go GM first and then let the GM pair up with the coach. So, and Eric Bieniemy is the one that the fans want in all our polls and so forth. But Arthur Smith, the Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator, is believed to be the front runner in the coaching derby.
Well, you talk about that, and so when you look at a guy like Arthur Smith, what does he really bring to the table for Falcons fans to really say, hey, we need to get excited about this guy?
Power football. That's what they're doing in Tennessee. They got the running back. They're running Kyle Shanahan's offense, which he inherited from Matt LaFleur. So they get to return to their 2016 offense. Other than that, he's pretty bland, straightforward guy. So that that doesn't really bode well for us in the media. But he's a guy who came up through the coaching ranks. His dad is Fred Smith, who owns FedEx. And so I just also understood that the families know each other, the Smiths and the Blanks. So, that's another issue that we'll have to ask about. So, that's what he brings to the table is the power football, the old West Coast offense. And, they still have to, fix some other things. But he's also got a lot out of his team with a cast-off quarterback in Ryan Tannehill, who wasn't very good in Miami, and should be off. Should be even if you stay with Matt Ryan, you're in a better place at the quarterback position than he was in Tennessee with Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, no doubt. Well, our producer back at the studio, he said you got that look, man. You got the smooth man look with the shades, D-Led. So he's feeling that back there, Mr. Carl Eli Smith, our gospel man. Speaking of that, again, guys, we won't forget. We know that we were on WIGO, so we know it's 9 p.m. All those of you listening to WIGO, we thank you so much for tuning out to us. And until the next broadcast, God bless you and have a great night. So yeah, man. So Tree, what do you think about bringing a guy in that kind of doesn't sling it around, just kind of likes to run that ball? Would you be happy with that?
I would be. One thing that a lot of NFL teams lack is a running game, but I think in order for any team to be successful, you have to have a good running game. You can't just always be about throwing and passes. So if we can get a team that can run the ball, oh my goodness, I think it will be a big game changer, and it will definitely help out the Falcons a lot. So I'm all for it.
So, D-Let, if in fact Arthur Smith is the guy, could you foresee a change in the mindset of how the Falcons draft? Now, I know you're a big proponent of the best athlete available. What about the idea is now they're talking, which I can't understand, is rumbling about Justin Fields dropping down, even past beyond 4. What would you think about the idea of that either skipping Justin Fields and maybe trying to get one of these other quarterbacks in the second round and going for Najee Harris right up front, or making the shot, going for Fields, and then hope you can pick up someone like Najee Harris, another stud running back later on in the draft?
Yeah, you don't draft running backs that high. That's what the history has been in recent years. You're only going to have them for 3 or 4 years. And you can find guys from the top to the bottom, from Zeke Elliott up high to Alfred Morris down low, who ran for 1,600 yards for 3 years. And then it was time for you to pay him. The Washington football team let him go. So, you can find a running back. I think you want to fix your trenches here, and you're going to have to consider the quarterback because you hoping you're not going to be up that high in the next couple of years. So, and a lot of the comparisons right now are Justin Fields and Zach Wilson from BYU. Some draft guys are giving the nod to Wilson and having Fields drop into 15 to New England, or vice versa.
Yes, I mean, me personally, I guess, if you put the fan hat on, obviously Atlanta fans would love to see Justin Fields here for a couple of reasons. Number one, he is a mobile quarterback. Number two, he's a hometown kid. Everybody likes the story of the hometown hero. And I still think that for some older fans, somewhere deep down in there, they won't admit it, but they still got that rumbling of number 7 running all over the place in the back of their minds. So clearly, I think if Fields is available, it would be hard for the Falcons not to pick him at the 4 spot.
Yeah, and if you bring in Zach Wilson, a BYU kid, and he's not, we haven't heard of him. They don't play anybody good, and he turns out to be a bust. And we're messed up for 10 more years. So They got to get it right. They got to get that quarterback thing right. I want to find out what happened with Haskins. The Ohio State guys put up a lot of numbers at Ohio State. And, and then Washington was going to get rid of him. And if they thought he could play, they would have found a way to work out his little issues and so forth, because he's going to grow up. But they must think he can't play. So that's why they cut him loose so quick. So I want to know, we see Justin. We saw what he could do against Clemson. They got overwhelmed yesterday, but it didn't have anything to do with him. Najee Harris, they couldn't stop the run, and then Devontae Smith got loose in the pass game. That was just real tough to handle. But, I think that would be the golden ticket for the Falcons. Get Justin Fields, let him learn under Matt Ryan, maybe not cut him loose right away. Michael Vick set for a year and a half under Chris Chandler. So if you think he's your guy, go ahead and get him. Get the fans excited again. And like Ms. Latressa said, you got to win and Atlanta's got to win, to get the fans back excited about the team. Unlike the Cleveland Browns people, so happy for them on Sunday night to get a playoff win, their first since 2002, because they go every Sunday no matter what. Whether the Browns are 0-16 or 4-12, they there for the Browns no matter what. The Falcon fans are still learning how to do that.
Yeah, the Falcons fans about Showtime, baby. They got they want to come on down into the VIP situation and have a good time there. And matter of fact, some guys like the tailgate, don't even go into the game. So that's how it is. Let's go back to social media. Peace Love 89 says it wasn't the first time Ohio State QB dropped a little bit. Look what happened to him. And our good buddy Affiliate Man says, hey, let's just face the facts. Time to get a coach and not a player's coach. He wants a tough guy in here. Affiliate Man says he's tired of it. Let's get one more comment from him. He says, any chance that Doug Peterson gets an interview the coach who was just fired in Philly. D-Lab, what do you think about Doug Peterson getting a shot here in Atlanta?
Yeah, our tough guy question. Let's go there first. Todd Bowles will be your tough guy coach. He's already coached for 4 years. He can come in here, no nonsense, continue what Raheem started in that way. And if you think you can win right away, you're gonna find out. Doug Peterson's not, he did beat the Falcons in the playoffs on his way to the Super Bowl there, but I understand he's good friends with Joe Douglas, the Jets GM, and he's pretty much going to the Jets. Now, one of the reasons he left Philly was because of the meddlesome, he said he got tired of people telling him what to do. So that's the owner and the GM. So, and then here they want to work together and tell each other what to do. It's more a collaborative effort. So it doesn't fit his profile, and he's got a buddy that's already throwing him a lifeline. So look for him to go try to resurrect the New York Football Jets.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting, all these coaching carousel here. I'm going to go to Miss Dolman here. Now, your Lions, I think, I'm not sure what they're going to do out there, put together a winning program. Do you have any thoughts on who you'd like to see them draft or who you'd like to see them bring in to kind of help your Lions get back up to some playoff activity here?
I want them to bring in Coach Saleh.
There we go. All right. Well,
that's who I want. And I really think I think we're starting to get there. Even this year, last year, I've seen some promising things from my Lions, some great plays. I see the heart and defense and some great plays on offense. So I really think, and I know people think I'm just, you're just saying that because you love your Lions. But I really think that next year we'll have a really different team as far as how we're playing and a different scoring. So we will not be on the bottom. I really think that we will make it to the playoffs next year. So I'm really looking forward to it. So whoever we draft and whoever we hire as a coach, it needs to be somebody that really has the mindset and the heart to really fix the parts of our team that we need to get to the next level. And I think having a tough coach, but also somebody who unites will really help that. And just in Detroit, we just have to believe. It's one of my favorite quotes that I always told my girls when I coach and even my teammates when I play. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right. It's all mental. We all know that when it comes to sports, it's mental, and that's what it's about. Any given Sunday, any team can win. Talent beats hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So it doesn't matter if you have the most talented team. It's all about who comes to play that day on that Sunday and who can really get those W's. And if you believe you can be down. We even seen with, I know the Falcons fans are tired of us talking about the Super Bowl, but we even see with the New England Patriots, it was because they believed and they knew that they could come back and win against the Falcons, even though all odds were against them and the game was pretty much won. But because they believed in their heads and they knew, hey, we can still come back and win, they believed, and that's how they were able to come back and win that Super Bowl. So if we can just get somebody in Detroit that can get that attitude, and our players and our coaching staff and just with everybody with the team, then there's nothing that we can't do next season. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm really waiting patiently and seeing who are they going to hire and bring in.
See, that's love right there. That's true love. She said she thinks Detroit is going to be in the playoffs next year. Listen, like you said, it's got to be somewhere. Start a belief, and we've seen it happen, D-Led, right? We've seen teams go from the bottom up to the top. The NFL, I think you talked about that last week, is a league that is based on parity.
Yes, no question about it. And like most of these teams, they won't be starting off at 0.0. They have the quarterback. Galladay wants some money at wide receiver. You got DeAndre Smith and Kerryon Johnson, 2 running backs. So they're not devoid of weapons in Detroit. It's just a matter of getting the right people in there to help and getting the right coach and leadership in there to get that winning culture. And they're going to have to beat Green Bay at some point. They're going to have to beat Chicago's ahead of them. And, the Vikings are ahead of them. That's a tough sledding in the NFC North. So, it certainly can get done. They were close under Jim Caldwell, but for some reason, winning 9 games and 10 games wasn't good enough, and he was fired inexplicably because he didn't talk to the media well or something like that, or was short in his media responses, and they want somebody with a better face or some PR stuff. I mean, win the football games. If the coach has got to be, not everything you want from a PR standpoint, then guess what? Get somebody else to do the press conferences and let him coach football.
Look, Bill Belichick does a weekly version of Marshawn Lynch in his press conferences until this year. Everything was like, hey, next game up. He didn't want to talk to anybody. He was a snarky guy. But what could you say? The guy, 9 Super Bowl appearances in 20 years. So you want that, or you want a guy that's glib and slick with the press? It's up to you. So that's all I got to say about that. Let's go back to social media. Affiliate man, jump back in it again. He says, he asked, it's okay. You got to put the D in front first, but I'll let you slide with this. He said, ask him is, let's see here, if he thinks that the Blanks will sell the team soon. Whoa.
No, they're not. It's we haven't written this, but the family members are already sitting in on the interviews and so forth. So I'm pretty sure they have a transition plan, but we haven't reported that. No, they're not selling the team anytime soon.
Yeah, I didn't think so. The family, just based on, D-Led from being there, you always saw them on the sidelines with Arthur all the time. And I couldn't conceive of anybody in their right mind that would let their family be divested of a half $500 billion investment. No, that's not happening anytime soon at all. So looking at the Falcons, we see, okay, if the world was perfect, the Falcons would be able to pick up a Justin Field at the 4th spot, somewhere in the 2nd or 3rd round, maybe pick up a really solid running back, and then try to address the deficiencies in the trenches. Am I understanding that's kind of would be the perfect storm for the Falcons, D-Led?
Yeah, no question about it. I kind of would like to if this guy from Oregon's a 10-year starter left tackle, and he's all that, I might want to take him at 4. Penny so well. And then maybe move Jake down to left guard, because you got a problem. The main problem before you do anything, talk about the playoffs or just even getting out last place, you got to get the interior of that pocket firm for Matt Ryan, because you got him for next 2 years. And there's an out for 2022. So you need to handle that. And drafting rookie linemen for that is probably not, unless they're a superstar like this kid's supposed to be. You got to fix that problem some kind of way. And then, you might have to do it via a veteran situation or a trade. So until you do that, you're not going anywhere. Until you can knock some people off the ball on 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, you're not going anywhere. You're just going to be zipping up and down the field between the 20s. And you got a kicker kicking a bunch of 29-yard field goals. This is what we saw last year. So I want to fix that first. I don't really want the quarterback this year, because if you're trying to win right away, the quarterback don't really help you.
Well, so you're doing the traditional thing. You want to see it go inside out. And everybody knows I have just one statement about this whole draft. Just, you better not be wrong. When you have a top 5 pick, that guy, especially where the Falcons are now and their poor history is having top 10 picks like the Vic Beasley and other options, they cannot miss. It is just imperative that they don't miss. And speaking of don't miss, here's a guy that talk about knowing some football. I used to call him the football or sports encyclopedia. The guy that got me started in all this, Vincent Turner, a.k.a. Mr. Football, has jumped into social media. Let's see what Mr. Turner has to ask. He says, ask D-Led about Patrick Surtain Jr. or Micah Parsons, either at Penn State, or in fact even Jamar Chase out of LSU, which oddly the CBS Sports mock draft had him going to the Falcons at 4.
Yeah, all those guys are good picks at 4, but there again, you're building out the perimeter with those guys. You don't really need Micah Parsons. You got linebackers, and you got a rookie. You got 2 that you play a lot, Dion and Foye, and you got a 3rd one, Michael Walker, that showed promise. So you don't really need a linebacker. Surtain would help you lock down the sides of the field. You got Terrell and you got Surtain. So now you got people covered. So maybe the pass rush could get there. Don't really need Chase. You got Calvin Ridley and Julio's getting old. So it ain't gonna really matter if you don't firm up that pocket. Chase is gonna be catching a bunch of bubble screens. So gotta get off of the skill spots in here until they get the interior of this team taken care of.
More social media questions here. He said, affiliate man, so whatever you do, nobody else from Clemson. Yeah, he's about through. But they had no second affiliate man. Wait a minute now. You got an all-pro defensive tackle from Clemson and Grady Jarrett, so slow your roll. Just saying.
Yeah. Probably an all rookie picking AJ Terrell. But yeah, I understand I don't understand it. Clemson's got one of the best teams in the country. I could take some more Clemson guys.
Yep. One more comment here from Vincent Turner. He said, or Pernell Sewell, you already mentioned that, the offensive tackle out of Oregon. So, listen, at the end of the day, like you said, see, the thing is, at that number 4 pick for the Falcons this year, they've got to get a person that if you looked at a healthy 10-year career, that you get at least 2 or 3 Pro Bowl appearances out of that person. I don't mean something where you got 15 guys injured and they kick you off hey, can you play in the game? I'm talking about a guy that's able to be an actual top-tier player at his position. I don't care what it is. I don't care who you draft. You can draft Surtain. You can draft the kid out of Penn State. I don't care who it is, but whoever that person is, they have got to be what was Dimitrov's word before he left? A disruptor?
Yeah, disruptor. Yeah. Just can't be, and the old Falcon fans will know these names. Can't do Andre Bruce. You can't do Bruce Pickens up there. Can't do that.
All right, guys, you're going to have to Google up those names because you're going to Wayback Machine, but you will see those are guys that just were what we call, in polite as we can, a bust. I mean, they just took money and stole it. So we don't want any of those guys here. And that's all I got to say about it. We just want to make sure that whoever they draft, that person is a game changer, a game influencer, is a type of person that when teams play the Falcons, they go, we got to account for that individual. That's what we want.
Yes.
Going back to social media, Mr. Football, we got him all riled up now. He said, all right, what about Alex Leatherwood at offensive tackle as a spot at the number 4 spot?
Now, see, I like that. I like that's power. He can come in and help you right away, like Wirfs is doing down in Tampa, and the other Alabama kid up in Cleveland. But I wouldn't take him at 4. I would trade back and give me some picks because you're gonna need, you need more than one thing here. So if I go back to 8, somebody wants Justin Fields, and you want to get out of getting the fans all messed up about it. Go back to 8 or 9, take Leatherwood and get some picks.
All right, also on social media, he said to Coach Hardy, says, remember Jamal Anderson, not the Jamal Anderson, the running back, the Jamal Anderson who looked like, see, this is the thing. Everybody wants to get mad at that pick, but D-Led, didn't he look like the part?
I mean, he did though. But you didn't have to take him at 8. You had Patrick Willis on the board. You had Darrell Reeves on the board and Marshawn Lynch. And you're gonna take a guy that was playing was a wide receiver playing defensive end, rushing on air in the SEC. He never had to go against the tackle. So I mean, you were making a big projection there, and you didn't have to take. He was going to be there in the second round. Some people think you could have. The best player would have been Patrick Willis at that point, and then maybe Darrell Reeves. Patrick would probably go in the Hall of Fame here in this year, next year. Reeves in a couple more years, and Marshawn, was one of the best running backs of his era. So all 3 of those guys are sitting there when they took Jamal. So you can't do that again.
Well, there you go, guys. That is the thing that is critical. Again, you have to pick somebody who can't miss. All right, D-Led, when you come on, social media just blow up. And everybody, I'm trying to be fair, guys. I'm trying to squeeze all your questions in so nobody says to me later, oh, man, I had a question. You didn't put it on. So here we go. All right, affiliate man. He says, we kind of talked about that affiliate man earlier. D-Led wants to ask you again, should they take a quarterback at 4 if one of these highly touted guys is available?
Yeah, you got Zach Wilson and Justin. We talked about them. So, yeah, they could be in play. The other formula is to go later and take Trask or Mac Jones in the 3rd. So those 2 SEC quarterbacks are going to be available too.
Now, Tree, now you watched the game last night. Mac Jones from Alabama. You know, he doesn't have a lot of flash, but do you think he would be a guy that you'd like to see here in Atlanta?
Oh, I think so. I was very impressed, and they have a winning attitude, and that's one of the things that I think we definitely can use here in Atlanta. So yes, I would say yes. What about you?
Well, see, for me, he's an intriguing pick only because he's a guy, D-Led, you know, everybody's kind of, this is funny. Here's a guy that at one point was a favorite for the Heisman, and nobody mentions him really as far as the top tier quarterbacks come out in the draft. So he might be the sneaky good pick out of all this situation.
Yeah, the Heisman doesn't usually bode well for NFL play. You know, with a lot of cats on that Heisman list that never played a lot of ball in the NFL, but you know, that's a college award, and they'll put him through the ringer. You know, a lot of people are impressed with how he stuck around and came up the ranks and, you know, waited for his turn there. It looked like he was making some pro throws to me yesterday.
No doubt. Affiliate Man talks about the fact that he seems like a nice kid, which is true. But, you know, he says he'd like to see Mac Jones if that came with a Nick Saban package, which obviously is out of the question. Listen, I hate to be repetitive, but it really gets down to I don't care. Just at that number 4 pick, they have to pick somebody who is a legitimate game changer at their position. That's all I care about, because I think, D-Led, one of the things that we're seeing, this draft is deep enough that the Falcons, with all those picks, should be able to get a couple of guys that can really impact this team and allow it to potentially, you know, be a playoff contender next year.
Yeah, I'm hopeful, very hopeful, because the record here under the last regime is you know, they've been missing a lot, you know, in those mid rounds, in the rounds where you kind of got to make your hay at. You know, Jalen Collins in the second, Duke Riley in the third, DJ Sinat in the third, John Cominsky in the fourth. Maybe John can play. I don't know. He was out there a lot this year. I didn't see him do much. Tack McKinley over TJ Watt. You know, we can't have none of that stuff. You got to hit Marlon Davidson. Didn't even play this year. He was second round pick. They tried to play the third round pick, Hennessy, you know, and you know, he couldn't move anybody off the ball. So that's a problem for a lineman. He did play the last 2 games at center and started. So maybe you got something there. But there have been too many misses. Sean Harlow in the 4th round. He's been on the practice squad for 4 years. So I don't think he played a snap. So, I mean, you got to hit on some of these players. Because anyway, if they don't, even if they can't play, they're going to be on the roster this year because they're so far up the salary cap, you know, situation that the draft picks are going to play. It's going to be a bunch of undrafted guys and a bunch of veteran minimum guys from around the league.
Wow. Well, I mean, like you said, it's the only thing I can say is Falcons fans, think about this again. You have to Google this again. Believe it or not, the Pittsburgh Steelers in a single draft, I believe, drafted 3 Hall of Fame players in one draft and like 7 guys that started for their Super Bowl teams that won 4 Super Bowls in 6 years. So it's possible.
Yeah. And that gentleman is getting ready to go in the Hall of Fame. His name is Bill Nunn. He was a sports writer for the Pittsburgh Courier and did the Sheridan Black College All-Star team for years. And Mr. Bill Nunn's getting ready to go in the Hall of Fame. He drafted Lance Starworth, or I'm messing up Starworth's first name, but Lance Swan and Starworth, and I think Jack Ham in the same draft. It's amazing. I got the Chuck Noll book over here. I have to brush up on that. But Bill Nunn was considered one of the top scouts of his time, helped build the Steelers into a dynasty, and you know, got all those players the steel curtain for Chuck Noll, and he's an old newspaper guy from the Pittsburgh Courier. They eventually hired him and made him executive scout.
Well, big shout out, and for a lot of people who know that we do our the first hour of our broadcast on WIGO 1570, we certainly want to give a big shout out to Mr. Nunn, because the folks that own us actually are based in Pittsburgh. They are African-American owned firm, and they actually now control and own the Sheridan Poll. So because it's Sheridan Broadcasting. So we are the last the last station that's owned by Sheridan Broadcasting, and hopefully we can revive that and bring you some HBCU coverage in the following years. So, D-Led, big shout out to you for mentioning Mr. Nunn, and we appreciate you. So I'm going to go around here and shift a minute off of professional football here and just, again, recap what we saw last night. Tree, I'm going to ask you first. You said you felt that, Mac Jones played pretty well, but overall, looking at Alabama, do you think they should be ranked as one of the top college football teams ever?
I do. We all know that Alabama, I mean, they're just phenomenal. Just everything that they went through this year. I mean, this was a tough season for everybody with COVID going on. And then when you lost a lot of great players, and for them to come back and do what they did, oh my goodness, phenomenal. They did not just finish with the exclamation mark. They let everybody know, do not underestimate us. We are here. And it was just a great game to watch, and their team unity coming together. It was really wonderful. A lot of great talent. I was just watching the entire game in amazement. So yes, I definitely do think that they are one of the best teams ever in college football. I mean, look at their records. All of the championships they've won, they just dominate. They don't even just win, they dominate.
This year was a dominant year. D-Led, what are your thoughts about the Crimson Tide? You've been watching this for a while. They one of the top 5 all-time college teams ever.
I'm partial to the old Oklahoma, Nebraska teams of the 80s, but certainly in the modern era, you have to include this Alabama team right up there with some of those teams. I don't know if they match the Hurricanes. I think it's that instant, ESPN, let's make them a hero today. I'm like, no, slow it. Whoa, slow your roll. It's not the same. And for me, them old Nebraska, Oklahoma teams, that Miami team that run with Jimmy Johnson and all them, Howard Snellenbecker started, those were some great teams. So I'm not just going to dismiss them because Alabama put up 52 points in a new era of football.
Well, yeah, so I don't know if I rank them in the top 5. They probably be in the top 10. Again, you talked about some great teams. Again, guys, you have to Google it up. But if you look at some of the Nebraska teams, even going back to the 70s, they won back-to-back, I think, national titles, crushed both their opponents, highly ranked opponents in the postseason. I think they beat Alabama, I think, 40-6. And I want to say they maybe beat Penn State or Georgia, someone else by a pretty big margin. So these are great teams. Certainly, you look back at the Miami teams under Jimmy Johnson, were outstanding teams. And even as far as the modern-day team, how can you count out the USC Trojans?
Yeah, the Trojans were rolling, man.
Okay, had back-to-back Heisman Trophy winners, and Matt Leinart and then Reggie Bush. I mean, you had some studs out there. So this team, it's got to be in the top 10 only because the sheer amount of firepower that this team had. They had guys who either set or broke records at all their skill positions. So with COVID, hey, who was missing? These guys put up some just gargantuan numbers. Before we wrap it up here, let's go to social media one more time. Like I said, D-Led, they come out of the woodwork when you're on the show. Let's go ahead. And Coach Hardy was responding to you, Tree, when he said, hey, he'll take Stratford and Swift for Ryan and Julio straight up. So that ain't going to happen. And matter of fact, he says that'll never happen. You're right. And then he says here that Matt Ryan needs a backup threat. For example, Matt Schaub. I mean, the guy, I don't know if he's coming back or not, but he can't move. Matt can't move. It would be nice to have a change of pace guy. And one more comment from Coach Hardy. He said, look at Rodgers in Green Bay. They picked up a QB this past year and they're balling out. Yeah, man. Look, D-Led, you remember the year that they went to the Super Bowl, or either the year before, when Arthur Blank said, y'all better get me 4 starters out this draft or else. And Matt's favorite theme was, we have a sense of urgency.
Yeah. They're gonna have one. They're gonna need that. Yes, no question about it. But Schaub is retiring. I talked to him today. I talked to him today. Arthur Blank announced it on the 4th. And so that's on AJC.com now too. Matt Schaub taking care of the kids, doing his daddy duties right now. But looking forward to retirement.
Well, Matt Schaub, I always have fond memories of him. Back when I was working at the BMW dealership, Nally BMW in Decatur, a group of guys, including the late Deion Carpenter, sent him to see me to get his first official NFL quarterback car. He traded in his old Honda Passport and got himself a 7 Series 745 Li. Yes, sir. So that's my memories of Matt Schaub. Great guy. Even helped us out when we were at when I went to the Chevy dealership. Was doing some stuff and promotional stuff with us as well. So a good guy, nice guy, and certainly got every penny, every inch out of his talent. Because what did he stay in the league? He led 15 years, 14 years.
He was in the league 17 years, and he made $94.3 million over his time in the league. So the backup quarterback plays pretty good.
Amen. Yep. And you don't have to take all that beating. Just get a check and be on standby. Well, man, listen, we were hoping to get in a special guest. He's been very, very busy. We want to actually get a perspective from former Alabama great. Richard Todd was going to join us tonight, but unfortunately his schedule will not allow it. Hopefully we'll be able to bring him back on at a later time. But, it's time to wrap it up. So let me put my shades back on here because as we always do, anytime someone comes on the show, we want people to know how you can reach them, how you can find them. So D. Orlando Ledbetter, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Reverend Simmons. You can find me on Twitter at DOrlandoAJC. We have the podcast dropping in the morning, the Bowtie Chronicles, episode 245, and the Cover 9 at 9 blog. Well, we ask tomorrow, why not Tony Dungy? They're talking about giving $80 million to Urban Meyer, $60 million to Matt Rule. Why don't the Falcons just go to Tony Dungy and give him a big deal and make him the new head coach? So look for that tomorrow. And you can follow us on Facebook at Atlanta Falcons News Now. And of course, link to our bookmark our Falcons page on AJC.com. Thank you, Reverend Simmons and Latricia, for having me on Real Talk Sports.
Well, D-Led, it's always a pleasure. You guys see it down there, ticker, AJC.com. In case you get lost, you will find D-Led right there doing this thing. Well, sir, until the next time, we thank you as we always do for joining us, and God bless you, and see you real soon.
All righty. Take care.
D. Orlando Ledbetter, Esquire par excellence. Always a pleasure to have him join us here on the show. Great stuff. Great insight about what's happening with the Falcons and, just the NFL in general. I mean, the guy's been covering it for a long time, and so we appreciate him and appreciate the fact that he was able to be a part of our broadcast. So, again, we still got to circle back. Now, we're not finished. We're not finished because we know that the lovely Latricia Coleman also wants to let you know where you can find her, social media, all that kind of good stuff. And so, the floor is yours.
Yes, you can find me at It's Latresa on Instagram and Twitter. That's ITSLATRESA. And thank you. And I actually love the idea of having Tony Dungy here as the head coach for the Falcons. I never even thought of that, but I'm just like, wow, that would actually be a great idea. And he's a great coach and a great person. I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah, no doubt.
They will do that.
This is what we like to Real Talk Sports. So you'll never know when you get breaking news. So you never know what you might get, guys. So always tune into the Real Talk Sports Show. Remember, check us out. Remember, there it is right there. There's the handle if you want to follow Latricia. There it is right there. It's Latricia. And you can follow her anywhere on social media. And that'll take you to actually links to some of your other pages as well with the beauty pageant. We're going to go social media one more time. Affiliate Man has jumped into the fray, and he says, hey, thank you all. That was fun. Well, listen, man, it's fun with you guys because without the audience and the way you guys participate, it makes the show just pop. And so, again, what we ask you to please, if you enjoy the show, share. Share on your pages, share on your friends' pages, tag people, let people know that every Tuesday night, 8 p.m., the Real Talk Sports Show will be broadcasting to you. As a matter of fact, let me put up how you can follow us on the Real Talk Sports Show. First of all, you can follow me at Minister J. Sims. You can check me out. I'll get that up here somewhere. If I can, maybe I should take my shades off now so I can see. There we go. So I can actually see where the banners are. You can follow me on social media at Minister J. Sims. I've been licensed by a Baptist church in my hometown, so I'm the real thing. You also can follow the show itself at Real Talk Sports 7. We're there on all social media platforms. Check us out there. We'd love to have you do it. If you want to go to YouTube, we are technically Real Talk Sports TV on YouTube. But if you just put in Real Talk Sports, we'll pull up and you can find us. Please subscribe to the page. Click on the notifications, because besides the show, we have like high school football highlights. We do other type interviews from on the red carpet and so forth. So again, please go to our YouTube page if you might. All right, one last question here on social media before we sign off here. We have my man, Affiliate Man, saying next week we will have a coach. That is absolutely true. I believe the Falcons are going to get that coach and GM thing straightened out next week. So just stay tuned. I'm sure D-Led will come back and let us know what happened. All right, guys, listen, you know how we always end the broadcast each week. Like I said, I am a real live minister, so I will encourage you, if you do not know the Lord Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, please, ma'am, please, sir, get to know him today. Why? Because nobody loves you like Jesus. Not your mom, not your grandmom, not your auntie and them, not your BFF, not your bae, not your boo, not your ride and die, not your partner, not your homegirl, not your homeboy. Nobody loves you like him. Why? Because he made us, he loves us, he died for us, and all you have to do is believe. And guess what? You avoid the unhappy place called hell when you get up and out of here. I don't know. Heaven sounds much better than me. And plus, you can have a life well lived while you're here on the earth. All right, guys, until the next time, we thank you so much for joining us here on the Real Talk Sports Show. Like I said again, please share. Let people know what we're doing. Until next time, God bless you and good night.